Roughly 2 months ago, the YouTuber dubbed as the unluckiest member of the internet uploaded a 3-part series of brutally honest reviews on the Netflix animated show Arcane. Some moments struck a chord with her as fresh as her first time watching the series, and some moments made her say some controversial opinions that could get her killed, like her Act 3 video. God, that was awful. Regrets? She has a few, but then again, too few to mention. And for now, she must look towards the future as Season 2 of Arcane has finally been released to the masses. Will she love this season as much as she did the first one? Will she continue to say out-of-pocket statements? Will she finally ship Kate Vi? There's only one way to find out. And remember, you asked for this. Look out for yourself! We kick off Season 2 exactly where we left off. So I had a feeling that this season would start with a gut puncher, but I didn't expect this. To follow the civilians of Piltover through the results of Fishbones made me feel for the council. Especially Mel, look at how shaken up she is. Luckily, this tense opening debunks what we were all scared of. Mel is alive and so is Jace. In addition to this, Shula is alright and so is Salo. They're just missing limbs. But it also confirms what we were all scared of. Bulbok and Haskell did survive the bombing, and neither did Cassandra Kierman, and Victor? Oh no! Before this season began, I'll admit, I predicted that Victor and Jace would be okay since they're champions, as well as Mel and Cassandra, because they are detrimental to the story. But to see that both Cassandra and Victor caught licks from Jinx's psychotic breakdown took me aback. Can I be completely honest? I'm not super sad about Cassandra being taken. I'm more sad about the repercussions this will have on Caitlyn and Tobias. Don't get me wrong, she was hot, but I feel she didn't have much of an impact in season 1 to make me want to bawl my eyes out. I mean, did she even have a great relationship with Caitlyn? 9 times out of 10 when they were on screen together, they had animosity, so it's a bit jarring. If anything, out of all these deaths, I'm the saddest for Bulbok. In season 1, it looked like he was the one that had the closest encounter to magic before Hextech, similar to Heimerdinger. Knowing the connection of magic to his people and how magic will have a big role in this season, it sort of pains me that the creators passed up on a missed opportunity. And you better get used to those around here because boy are there a lot. With all the casualties and terrors around him, Jay snapped into hero mode as soon as he saw his boyfriend lifeless on the ground, rushing him to his lab to use the hex core to try and save his life. It felt good seeing this because my J-Vic fangirling ass was kicking my feet at Jace's heroism. It just goes to show that even after all their trials and tribulations, no argument nor bitch will get in the way of what they have. And that's why I ship them like FedEx. Now we move on to something I ship like eBay, Kate Vi. And man, are they in a rough patch. See, after Cassandra passed away, Caitlyn's been going through a depressed stupor with her daddy, and Vi is feeling the love. In some way, Violet can't help but feel all of this is her fault, so she confides in her partner in crime to let her know she'll help her any way she can. Just say the word. Luckily, Caitlyn's quick to do exactly that.
You can. As one of us.
Now, wifey. Look at me, wifey. One of the key pieces of Vi's character she told you about in season 1 was that her family was murdered by enforcers. Half of her life was taken by your chief, an enforcer, who threw her down into Stillwater to be beaten up on a daily, and she even gave you problems because you are an enforcer. So why the hell would she want to become one? What, did Kate smoke a fat one off screen? This is asinine. Luckily, Vi thinks the same way because she tells Caitlyn how stupid she's being before storming off. Actually, can we pause this for a second? Because I feel like one of the key scenes in this episode isn't even this interaction. How would you feel if I told you that the scene that stayed with me in this episode wasn't this, or this, but this? This small interaction between Caitlyn and Tobias where he gave her the family key. Why? Well, because this scene is not only a prime example of my feelings for this season wrapped in a neat bow, but it's also a scene where I feel 2 characters were assassinated. As soon as Caitlyn took that damn key, she was killed. As soon as Tobias delivered a cold shoulder seemingly to blame his child for his wife's death, he was killed. Tobias was one of my favorite characters in season 1, so to see how he's done here is really depressing. Because guys, this is the last time we will ever see him. That's right, his final action in this whole season was lackluster love for Caitlyn with a plot device. It sucks. It genuinely sucks, because the way that the Kiermans were handled was poorly for me. I may seem like I'm over-exaggerating, but hold your horses. You'll see what I mean come later. Pushed to the curb, Vive ends up spending the night under a bridge where she befriends a handsome hobo. This is Loris, a man whose past is a mystery never to be revealed, with one of my favorite character designs of the new batch of characters. Too bad his design is all I can really speak positively about, because he commits one of the biggest cardinal sins as soon as he says hi to Violet. He gives her a one-way ticket to the Alcoholic Express! With some liquor in her system, Vi ends up babbling about her woes until the Popo comes to shut it down.
Vi? Who are you? How do you know my name?
Yeah, who are you? You... Oh my god. Who is this cute? No! No, India. You can't fall into temptations. Resist! Even if it's hard to ignore the dotting, blue-eyed girl who's sweeter than a cinnamon roll and warmer than the sun. My angel, who are you?
Junior Officer Nolan. Maddie.
Maddie. Oh, it has such a nice ring to it. Madeline and her ally Stev find Vi and immediately connect the dots that the woman Caitlyn was buttering up for recruitment aligns with the pink-haired drunk. If Kate buttering her up wasn't enough, Maddie makes it abundantly clear that she has a celebrity crush on Violet. What I wish they had gone for instead of what they choose to do, but again, I'm getting ahead of myself. That's for the Act 2 video to deal with. With the presence of a girlfriend to combat her wife, Vi plays nice with the new enforcers before they're all summoned to a memorial service for the fallen of the Piltover bombing. There, she and Loris listen to a sweet speech delivered by Mel, and the memorial goes off without a hitch.
Awful, isn't it? Losing a loved one.
Now that is how you do a sneak attack. From the crowd brewing with vengeance, Rennie releases hell right on top of Piltover in a backdrop all too similar to the massacre in episode 1 of season 1, releasing Chimtakes down to kill any and all Piltovians in their sight. And if that wasn't enough, she even drops the Rat King of the pack, all while she's armed with a chainsaw built to carve Jace up like confetti. What you are experiencing, my friend, is my favorite action scene in season 2. The way that Piltover falls into chaos similar to Zod is a nice parallel to the turmoil the Undercity went through. And watching the main characters have to combat against these intruders armed with little to nothing is delight. It not only shows you how everyone is rather quick on their toes when it comes to trouble, but it also gives you insight to Steb, Maddie, and Loris. In a way, this scene tells you all about their characters without exposition or dialogue. Well, outside of Maddie's. We learn that Steph is a bit on the fearful side, but it won't stop him from saving his allies. Loris is a man who clearly has some history in combat, as shown in the way he could properly wield scrap and use it as a shield. More admirable that he saved our lovable fishman without hesitation. And Madeline? She still looks beautiful upside down. It's not just them. We find out in this scene that Caitlyn may not be the excellent shot she hypes herself to be, which will be detrimental to her arc. We see how Violet is quick to action, not just saving Caitlyn immediately when she's in trouble, but also saving Jace, even if it meant scaring Harold in the process. By the way, how does she know where to find Jace's ham? This scene is a great way to use combat as character study, and as someone who is a freak for character studies, you best believe I loved every second of this scene. Soon the Chimtakes have everyone backed into a corner. Caitlyn tries to shoot her foes away with Madeline, and Jace and Vi charge up the sexiest looking hex-powered blast from the hammer to finish their enemies. Holy cow. Not only did we just experience a great action sequence with a secret reveal, but now we have one of the coolest character and squad pull-ups through Mbessa and the Noxians? Come on! In the nick of time, Vesta saves everyone from the ambush with the help of Rictus, giving everyone downtime to chill out and recuperate. And by everyone, I only mean Vi and Caitlyn. By the way, are you enjoying yourselves with all this K-Vi stuff? Because trust me when I say this isn't a percentage of how much K-Vi is in this season. I thought episode 8 of last season was the K-Vi show, but boy was I proven wrong with this season. Caitlyn boils over with frustration in regards to the attack, while also relenting on how much Cassandra's passing is really affecting her. Because of her vulnerability, she confides in Vi about their own absence of parents taken in horrific events, connecting over their trauma before Kate apologizes for trying to make Violet wear the badge. But it's okay. Violet is surprisingly understanding and doesn't hold it against her, because what they need right now isn't animosity. What they need is comfort. And our lovable Butch is quick to give her just that. So here's the thing about this scene. I do love how Violet is showing a softer side to Caitlyn. It shows a side to her character that has only been glossed over in season 1. And though it took me aback to see this once punch-hungry Zon Knight being the voice of reason, I actually welcome this change of pace. This scene in itself is really good. But I feel we already had a scene like this that presents these woes better than the shipping moment. And for that, we're gonna have to rewind it. See, while Vi was telling drunken stories to Loris, Caitlyn had to deal with being in her mother's place to watch the council slowly crumble in her absence. The toll is becoming too much on her, causing her to fantasize about killing Jinx and losing herself to rage. But one person finds her in a beautiful garden backdrop to ease her pain and deliver an ear to listen. And that's not Vi.
Hey, Sprout.
How'd you find me?
Your dad.
This scene where Caitlyn and Jace talk to one another is yet another moment in season 2 that struck a chord with me. Not only do we get more insight into their friendship, but we watch as these two friends connect emotionally on the loss of loved ones, the feeling of being powerless, and the plantation of the seed that is hatred. This scene shows off the presence of the whole Caitlyn told Vi about and really paints a picture of the growing anger and animosity she will come to have for Jinx. It's a normal chat between friends checking up on each other and lending a helping hand, and for me, I think it really conveys what Caitlyn is going through better than the fuel we got for her future relationship. They're both excellent scenes. It's just if I had to pick a preferred one, I'd choose the one with the closeted gay over the one with the situationship. After the show that was a memorial, Caitlyn decides to lock in and use the family key to unlock some secret files the Kierman family possess courtesy of Cassandra, and holy it's the Grey! Wow. And not only is the Grey established in all of its glory here, but we find out that Cassandra wasn't just busy being a sexy governor. She was trying to work out a way to neutralize the spread of the Grey in the other city, which is really cool for her to do. But, forgive me for asking, what's her motive doing this? As much as I'd like to believe she's doing this out of the goodness of her heart, the way she treated Vi in season 1 would make me think she would simply help out the other city for that. It's a nice gesture, and I guess cool development to a dead character, but something about this makes me scratch my head a bit. I don't know, I just find it hard to believe that a hard-ass like Cassandra would do this due to good morals. I won't harp on it long though, because at least this is charity for the folks downtown. And what does Caitlyn do with this charity? Let's put a pin in that for now.
There you go.
Just know you're not gonna like it. With the anger boiling and festering inside of her, Caitlyn barges in on a private council meeting on how to deal with Zod after their little stunt and declares she will not only neutralize Jinx, but take down the Chim Barons. But, of course, she won't do this alone, because she has the help of Mr. Talos' clean new weapons made not just for herself, but for her special forces group consisting of Maddie, Steb, Loris, and Violet? She's actually becoming an enforcer? Alright, so this shouldn't surprise me, because in League of Legends, Vi is indeed an enforcer who is also the right hand to Caitlyn. So Fortitia's following canon, which is good, right? Not exactly. See, Vi joined the enforcers in League just cuz. She found out there was a job where she beat up people and get paid for it. Sign her up! So in League of Legends, there is good merit for her becoming an enforcer. But in Arcane, Vi being an enforcer is just gross. If this was out of free will, that just makes things more weird. And if it was out of a manipulative tactic or promise made to Caitlyn, if not guilt, then I'm absolutely not here for it. Before you think Caitlyn wouldn't pull shit like that, trust me, she would. And maybe we're supposed to feel gross now. But this leaves a deep, nasty taste in my mouth that this episode only gives me a peek to other nasty choices that'll be made because, man, this is going to get worse. The episode ends with Caitlyn starting up her mission to wipe that smirk off Jinx's face and Victor showing signs of waking up. Episode 1 of Season 2 was a nice way to come back into the series. It was great to see old characters again in some higher quality animation, and it was nice to meet the new characters I'm sure we're going to fall in love with. Though the timing I felt could have been utilized better and a scene or two could have been replaced or rewritten, this start of the final season was great in every way, regardless of the concerning mindsets brewing among the main cast. Outside of that, there isn't much I would change upon first watch. A solid episode that I wouldn't mind rewatching to death. I'm giving this episode an 8 out of 10 and a B+. Flipping the script of Season 1, since Episode 1 of Season 2 focused on Piltover, Episode 2 is taking us into the depths of Zaun, where Jinx lets us in on what's been up with the Undercity since we last talked. So it seems all of Zaun has been flipped on its head since Silco died, with all the Gym Barons fighting amongst themselves for the throne that is the Undercity. And we find all this out through a music video. No, seriously, we got a music video with the track Sucker playing. The creators were probably watching episode 7 again and thought, yeah, that intro was fire. Let's do that again. Actually, let's do that 6 times. You think I'm exaggerating, but I'm not. While we get some exposition through song, while running away from Cross's men, a young girl named Aisha ends up falling for a depressed Jinx. Literally. By the way, I knew of Aisha's name before the series came out, and my American ass pronounced her name as Aisha instead of Isha. But I was only corrected in Act 2, so you're gonna have to suffer the awkward pronunciation with me until then. Upon meeting Aisha, Jinx saves her from Cross's men, trying to apprehend and maybe kill her with a 3-piece combo. And after an interaction that would personally make me shit my pants, Aisha becomes so interested in this depressed lunatic that she follows her around like a duckling. I can't lie to you, when I first met Aisha, I already knew what kind of plot they were trying to do with Jinx, and I was not here for it. I had a feeling she would get a sidekick or some pals, like in the games. Maybe end up building a special bond with Savika, but a child sidekick? Yeah, that wasn't on my list. So you'll have to forgive me if at first I couldn't stand her. She did dampen my enjoyment with her addition, but man, she made me roll my eyes. If I wanted a foul family trope, my ass could have put on the Mandalorian. While Jinx is playing babysitter, Savika tries her hardest to keep the Gym Barons under control, pushing against turning in Jinx no matter how harsh the Undercity is becoming. But her pleas falls on deaf ears because Smeech is quick to vouch for Jinx's arrest, especially after he experiences a deadly encounter in the form of a statue that looks a lot like... Oh, that just looks like Margot. I'm sorry, guys. I thought for a second that statue looked like Caitlyn. I'm not gonna lie. On my first viewing, I thought that was Katie. Okay, I'm sorry. Look. Let's just move into what Jinx and Savika are doing right now, who find themselves having a heart-to-heart over Silco's death, which is having quite the emotional toll on them. It's kind of a breath of fresh air to watch these two characters that couldn't stand one another being each other's shoulder to cry on in a sense, especially as it's over them realizing how flawed of a person Silco really was. But even in flaws, you can tell that they cared about him, and they will surely miss him, because when Silco died, a piece of them died as well, which is why they both settle on the best course of action.
Watch it all burn.
Now with her goal in mind, Jinx decides to pay the Arcane one last visit to seemingly dismantle and make Savika an arm? Oh, that's so sweet of you, Jinx. I'm sure Savika will love it. Let's go give that to her ASAP rock. Straight up, this scene is one of the many scenes that almost made me touch my computer screen. To watch and realize that not only Vi would give the go-ahead to the squad to use the grave for their mission, but to also be willing to kill her sister with it is so heartbreaking. I sat watching this and just couldn't help but wonder why Vi of all people would be okay with this. Does she hate her sister for what she's done? Yeah, but that's her family. Hell, even Jinx could find herself to kill her after watching her steal Clagger's goggles, which, by the way, they're only in episode 2 and 3, which royally pisses me off because why would you hype it up in the trailers only for this item that is a key element to both her and Jinx's character to be easily discarded? Another issue I have with this season, but I'm getting ahead of myself, I'm sorry. There's just a lot of things about season 2 I can't ignore and keep to myself. But patience is key, right? Anyways, after the near-death experience, Jinx is able to escape and leave Vi to deal with her growing crazy trigger-happy girlfriend. You know what they say, you always end up dating someone like your family. Jinx beelines to give Savika her new arm. Yo, that was the cleanest fucking punch. Finding Jinx seemingly defenseless, Smeech goes in for the kill, but after my girl essentially puts the fear of God in him, he stopped dead in his tracks by... Savika, hell yeah! Look at her coming to the rescue like a total badass. And Aisha's here to help too. I guess you're not too bad, kid. I still don't like you though. Now armed with her new augmented limb, courtesy of Jinx, Savika challenges Smeech to a duel and, let's not kid ourselves, she wiped the floor with his ass. So let's talk about this fight, huh? This battle doesn't just serve as one of the coolest one-on-one matches of the season, but it's also a good display of the growing connection between Jinx, Savika, and to a degree, Aisha. Watching our beautiful brawler get used to the loose cannon's machinery was like a breath of fresh air, if not a cute sight, especially seeing how annoying but also impressed Savika is by what Jinx can create. Speaking of what she can create, this new augmented arm is super fun to watch in action. The way that Savika basically has to play the slot machine to get an advantage in battle sounds like a cool concept. I can't wait to see more of this. What? This is the only time we see a function? Outside of episode 9? Mind grade outside from the news I just got. This scene was a blast, and it makes me so excited for more scenes between these two enemies slowly becoming family, especially after Jinx admits why she fixed her arm.
It was something I could fix.
Now creating a badass trio, our ladies embark on their next mission, to kick Violet's ass. So Vi is pissing me off, Caitlyn is pissing me off, and Jinx is worrying me a bit. Good to know. So where's the precious baby boy? Surely Echo is having a better time than everyone else, right?
Oh, this is quite troubling. That tree means so much. It's our food, fresh air.
Of course he's dealing with his own problems too. Damn, can no one catch a break? Echo finds out while Heimerdinger is entertaining some new arrivals that the Firelight Tree is being contaminated. Luckily, our furball knows exactly what's happening, but first, they'll need to pay a visit to the top side. After a rather adorable break-in that makes me want to protect these champions at all costs, they end up sneaking into Jace's office, where my man almost busts a cap in their asses before easing up upon recognizing them. They confide in him on the corrupted plant, and though Jace only knows the surface level information, he's quick to hop into action and try to get to the bottom of everything. While all this occurs, Heimerdinger is quick to ask what happened to Victor, and it's a long story. While things got relatively worse in Zon, Piltover opened its own can of worms as Victor finally woke up. This moment of succession through Jace saving his boyfriend should be a joyous celebration, but Victor just makes him feel like a guy who slept with a hooker and doesn't know he has to pay for it. This buff idiot of a man pours his heart out to our lovable scientist, telling him he's quitting everything to be with him, and what does Victor do? He makes like a one-night stand and leaves because of his
potential,
leaving Jace with the information that the Hex Core took Sky. You know, I thought their breakup scene was when Victor made Jace promise to kill him, but I take that back. This is the real breakup scene. I feel bad for Jace because he really did work day in and day out with the wounds he succumbed to save his boyfriend, only for him to go and say he doesn't love him anymore. I love Victor, but honestly, dude, go f*** yourself. That is, if you can. Victor hightailed down to Zon to see the mess left behind from everyone's stories, and though he doesn't bat an eye, it could easily be deduced that all of this bothers him. Hey, that's a Janet portrait. Sweet. And look, it's Huck. Hey, guy, I still love your haircut. Noticing Victor's naked swagger, Huck and some addicts tried to attack and rob our lovable scientist, only to experience a sensation that gave me 9 Vietnam moments. Guys, call Victor Kanye West because he is a god. Realizing he has the power to essentially baptize and save victims of Shimmer, Victor feels he has found his calling, or as he said before,
A potential.
and decides to become a holy figure among Zomnites. A holy figure that I like to say has the makings of a great story, but falls short. Again, ahead of myself, that's for the Act 2 video. And that's about it for this episode. Episode 2 was a solid episode showing off what's been going down in the other city with stories that, of course, has to be more invested than whatever's happening in Topside. It's always a pleasure to see Jinx, Savika, Echo, and Heimerdinger again, along with the Chim Barons, and the way they handled Silco's death was pretty good. Outside of the lovable Zomnites and our goofy furball, it was also nice to see what Victor's up to, and his path to becoming a cult leader makes me more than excited for what's to come for his story arc. There isn't much I would change about this episode except for, say, the music video at the beginning with Sucker and the usage of Get Jinx. It would have been nice if they used another song instead of a remix of that, but that's a nitpick. Outside of that, this episode was another episode I wouldn't mind rewatching to death. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10 and a B+. Before we really hop into this next episode, SpongeBob, I have a confession to make. While the stories of Zod's fall and Piltover's bull came to a boil, another story was busy being unfolded, the Medarda story. That's right, Melon and Bessa had their own plot going on. See, while the council was trying to pick itself back up again, Mel was busy playing tug-of-war with her mother over how Piltover should be run, especially with the supposed assistance of Noxus. The council sees Bessa's willingness to offer her own soldiers as a selfless act, but Mel's not a dumbass. She knows her mother's game. She knows she's only doing this to get the power of the Golden City so that she can fight against her foes. The same foes that just so happened to be reaching their boiling point with Bessa. During a discussion on their plans to assist Piltover, Bessa and Rictus are attacked by a Noxian soldier that is a part of the Black Rose. What's the Black Rose, you may be asking? Don't worry, your gay LOL players got your back. The Black Rose is a secret organization that runs inside the walls of Noxus, using their title as members of this group to hunt down and find those of magical origin. They used to run their faction exclusively for uncovering secrets within Noxus, and using them to strengthen their kingdom by unveiling any threats to higher-ups. You can kind of think of it like detectives, or black hat hackers. Anyways, they sense magic brewing within Mel, and because of this, they want our homegirl. But Bessa would be damned if they lay a finger on her kid. So she has Rictus make this old hoe see the light before Bessa turns her lights off. Not like the lady cares though. The Black Rose will still be hunting Bessa down for their magic baby. It's because of this why Bessa is trying to keep Mel away, and honestly I find that so fascinating for her character. I love that she comes off as a hard ass, but she's really a concerned mother trying to keep her daughter safe from the threats that want her life for personal gain. She would have been successful with it too if it wasn't for Mel being just as secretive. Knowing her mother is up to something, she enlists the help of Les, a Vestea? I hope I'm getting it right, who just happens to be working for Salo to make him feel good with Shimmer. She eavesdrops on a session with Salo and Bessa to find out they're in cahoots with one another and have a sleeper spy among Piltover. Why? She's not sure just yet, but she does almost crack the code to this weird plan of her mother's before...
Alora, what's wrong?
Wait, so Alora was part of the Black Rose? I knew it! See, I did some research before the season came out, and I found out that Alora's actress was also in Legends of Runeterra. There, she played as a Black Rose operative, so it had me wondering if she was a spy. And though calling her a spy would go too far, seeing as she was part of the organization some way somehow makes me feel like Detective Conan in this bitch. Anyway, celebration aside, Mel getting kidnapped by the Black Rose is some bad news. For her, I mean. For me, it makes me beyond excited, because we might see some more Noxus champions like Vladimir, Elise, and maybe the leader of the faction, LeBlanc. Of course, Mel's story ends on a cliffhanger this act, but it makes me beyond excited to see what the writers have up their sleeves with the Black Rose, and if we'll see more of Mel's past. We already had Bessa's past tapped into a bit through the music video Blood, Sweat, and Tears, so why not do the same for Mel, right? Until then, this is where Mel's story is put on a brief intermission. Entering episode 3, we return to focusing on our champions of Piltover through another music video. Oh, okay. Instead of playing Marcus King's Sucker, our stylized visuals of the squad destroying Zod is accompanied by the song Hellfire by Fever 333. Oh, I should probably say how I feel about the songs this season, shouldn't I? My bad. Let's take a brief intermission, shall we? So in Act 1, there are 6 key songs, 4 of which we've already listened to. In Episode 1, we had Freya Riding's I Can't Hear It Now, the song that plays during the music video of Caitlyn saying bye to her mother. It's a nice song to send off the councilwoman, and in a way gives us a glimpse as to what's going on in Caitlyn's mind at that moment. Out of the many songs in the season, if not the first act, this song is the most personal and the most moving. It connects so well with the visuals and the characters, especially Wifey. The second song in the episode was Mike Shinoda and Emily Armstrong's Heavy is the Crown. This song is nice for what it is, and I really dig it, though I personally wouldn't play it with the scene that's played with, which is when Caitlyn finds out about the Grey and assembles her team. It just sounds kind of out of place. It seems like a song I connect more with Vi. Not saying it would work for Caitlyn, but maybe the scene could have been more dynamic outside of our squad being introduced. In episode 2, we have Marcus King's Sucker and the song Renegade by Raja Kumari, Stefflon Don, and Jarina Del Marco. Both songs are good, but my favorite out of the duo has to be Sucker. It matches the music video in the series so well, showing off how far gone the Undercity has become without Silco's rule, and the threat of a war looming on their shoulder. Also connecting with Jinx's character, this is definitely something I can feel her and Aisha would think in the following moments where they are at their lowest before meeting one another. Also, it's super catchy, especially when the kid choir hops on the track. Fire. Renegade, I'm not the biggest fan of, but for an action piece song, it gets the job done, so I can't be super upset with it. For episode 3, we have 2 more songs, but I will talk about one of them later on. For now, let's crack into Hellfire by Fever 333. This song is pretty catchy. I dig it quite a lot, and the visuals work well with it in some places, even if a few could have used some tweaking. It matches the raw nature of the squad and really shows off the chaos that is brewing in Zon now because of these enforcers, arguably bad guys, cleaning the streets in search of Jinx. Out of all the songs in Act 1, the 2 in Episode 3 are the ones I bumped the most. You're probably wondering, why am I analyzing the soundtrack? This isn't an album review, it's a show review. You're right, but here's the thing. Almost 1/3 of Arcane Season 2 is the soundtrack. I'm not playing. There are 2 music videos in each episode. Not even Season 1 had that much. I mean, compare the soundtrack to Season 1's soundtrack, it has twice the amount of songs Season 1 had. In the first few episodes, I didn't mind it, but after a while, those songs start to become noticed, and not for the right reasons. The music in Season 1 was a companion piece, something to straighten scenes and tell what the visuals couldn't. But here in Season 2, it's a hard part of the season, so I have to treat it like that. Even if a part of me wishes that wasn't the case. Oh well, intermission is over. Back to the episode. Through a montage of all things, we find out that Caitlyn and the squad are the reason behind the Grey sleeping all throughout Zon. We also found out that most Shimmer factories have been recalled or destroyed by the squad. Cross and Margot are taken down, and Jinx is nowhere to be found. Okay. I'm just gonna say it now. I do not like how they handled the Chim Barons. Maybe it was dumb of me to expect these guys to be as villainous as the Espada or the Inquisitors, but damn. Like, how are you gonna set them up only to take them out in not even a half of an episode? For me, it's just another missed opportunity to build upon the world of Arcane or give the series more nuanced villains. Oh well, I guess? I don't know. Let's move on before I say something I regret. The squad reaches the sewers, where they meet a man named Hinot, who was held against his will by Jinx, who was nice enough to make the squad these cute little dolls. Damn it, Jinx! You scared my girlfriend! Come on, bro! They learn through Hinot that Jinx is planning to reroute the lower pipes. And hell if I know why. That's not important, though. What is important is that Caitlyn is so far off her rocker that she's willing to kill her informant and toss them into a cell forever. Like, goddamn, bitch. It's a good thing Vi is realizing she's losing it because she pulls her away for 2 things. First off, she requests that the squad goes back to Piltover and leave her and Caitlyn to deal with Jinx. It's their fight anyway, so they'll finish it themselves and it'll cut back on any casualties that could be made. I find this action of Vi to be very selfless, and again, showing us a side of her that we only got a glimpse of in Season 1. You making gutsy moves out here, Vi. I dig it. All that to say though, selfless or not, wouldn't it be better to have the squad go down there with you? Yeah, it's personal, but with Lorsa's shield, Steph's medical expertise and quick response, as well as Maddie's smoke gun, if not her pistol, the odds are for you, not against. They could get hurt, that is true, but that's the cost of being in the Force. They knew what they signed up for, and they knew of their mission, which clearly they want to help in accomplishing. So, I do respect this, but it's not the most sound move. Outside of the selfless act, Vi also admits that Caitlyn is indeed scaring her, and it's not just that.
I'm so sorry about your mother, but please just... Everyone in my life has changed. Promise me you won't change.
I won't.
Say the line, Bart!
That kiss scene was the cutest thing I've ever seen between those two lesbians. And you know what sucks? If this scene was all that happened between these two in regards to their relationship, then the show would have done it. They would have made a K-Vi shipper out of me, like I wanted back in season 1. This kiss scene was so powerful, I could feel my frozen heart melting for these two, and I wanted it to stay that way. I wanted this to work into everyone's favor. But it won't. And you'll find out why later. Right after these messages are brought to you by Echo, Heimerdinger, and Jace's plot. So, after looking deeper into the corruption of Echo's tree, Jace comes to the conclusion that the arcane, or more so magic in both cities, are becoming corrupted. And unfortunately, it is spreading into the nature of the lanes. And this could be because the main source of hex tech is underground, so if it tries to go ka-chow and goes kaboom, Zai will be the first ones to get up, not Piltover. And you can bet my man Echo isn't here for it. But before he could go all gangster on him, the sci-fi trio are met with a corrupted hex core of some sorts. And like any other idiot in a horror movie in front of something they don't understand, Jace touches it and all hell breaks loose. This is all simultaneously going down while Vi and Caitlyn finally reach where Jinx was located, finding pillars of doodles made by her reminiscent of past moments in the series. And some of these pillars are pretty heartbreaking. Vi and Jinx talk for our Butch to give Caitlyn some time to take the shot, and she does. But of course she can't tell the difference between a reflection and a real person. Like a shot signifying the beginning of a race, this action starts the duel fight between Vi and Caitlyn versus Jinx and Savika, while the track to Ashes and Blood from Woodkid plays. And he delivers once again with the music, man. He killed it last season with Guns for Hire, connected to one of my favorite scenes of season 1. And now he's back to destroy round 2 with this killer track interlocking between the chaotic match between sisters and the unfolding of Hex Tech. If the episode 1 battle did exist, this would hands down be my favorite action scene in Act 1. Just watching the different fighting styles was really cool, and yes, I dug the bite scene, but not because it's hot. I actually love it because it really shows how far gone Caitlyn is becoming through biting and using the corrupted hex tech to take down her foe, while also confirming that Savika is a masochist, but come on. We've been knowing that. And to see the rage bathing Vi along with the hurt radiating from Jinx hit a little too close to home. This whole scene was phenomenal, even towards the end of a brutal tussle.
Come on.
I'm ready.
Watching Jinx be ready to be taken out of this world broke me. Especially when I could see Vi was about to do just that. But watching Aisha run to Jinx's side to protect her, now that was a real surprise. She's only known her for a day or two and she's already protective of my child? Willing to die for her? You know what, Aisha? I take back what I said. You're cool as hell, kid. I'm adopting you. Her presence may stop Vi from attacking, but Caitlyn doesn't care about her at all. She wants to kill Jinx and she's gonna do what she wants, damn it.
Move! Jinx!
The battle ends with Savika triggering one of Jinx's inventions, which gives Piltover the color it so desperately needs. I won't lie, at first when I saw this, I thought these paint bombs were too bad. They just explode some color onto topside, no biggie, just clean it off and get on with your day. But if the kid we see at the city meeting's injuries are from these things, then damn Jinx, you're crazy! You're crazy! Oh well, at least the kiddies and Zod have something to look at. Realizing they failed their mission, Caitlyn and Vi get into a pretty heated argument.
You stopped me. I shouldn't have had to. What's wrong with you? I keep telling myself that you're different. But you're not. It's her blood in your veins.
Then why are you the one acting like her?
Stupid bitch. Stupid bitch.
You know what? No. No, I'm not going to try and make this funny or find a silver lining. I can't. I understand. Caitlyn's emotions are high. They always have been since her mom died. And Violet comparing her to Jinx is a low blow. But for Caitlyn to hit Vi and leave her crying in the sewers? That's fucked up. I know this series was making a parallel to when Vi hit Powder back in Season 1, Act 1, but here's the thing. They are children and don't know better. Even then, Vi was about to return to Powder's side to protect her and maybe apologize, but Marcus beat her to the punch along with Silco. Back then, though as messed up as the moment here, had a bit of merit because both girls are still so young and probably don't know better. But this has no excuse. Caitlyn and Violet are in their early 20s. They should fucking know better at this point. Especially Caitlyn, as someone who was raised in Piltover and was probably taught some actions have consequences and some should not be made. Going off of Season 1, Caitlyn always seemed like someone who was calm and collected and wouldn't lay a damn finger on Vi, even if some moments could have pushed her to do so. So to see her do this and show no remorse for it, it makes my blood boil. I know some of you guys might say, hey, chill out. It's just a cartoon. Don't look too deep into it. Caitlyn was emotional. Cut her some slack. Vi had it coming. She said that rude comment and did it to Powder. Time for her to get a taste of her own medicine. And maybe you're right. But can we all agree that this is abuse? This is abusive. If Caitlyn does this angrily to Vi, what the hell else is she capable of? Who's to say she won't do this again? She's already shown signs of abusive tendencies. Who's to say she won't do something else to Vi if they start dating for real, or if they do? Again, I understand if you ship Kate Vi, and that's perfectly fine. I'm glad you can find some solace in this. But for me, as someone who is a victim of abusive relationships and have been surrounded by them all my life, this is awful on so many levels. And it is because of this that when it comes to Arcane, I can never, ever ship Kate Vi. Returning to Piltover, Caitlyn is called to a city meeting where Bessa steps up to the plate and has Noxus enroll their services to Topside, as well as appointing her sheriff to not just the enforcers, but her own units.
Caitlyn Caraman.
Caitlyn at first is hesitant, but after my Scottish girlfriend gets to pounding her chest looking so adorably naive, and everyone chimes in, Caitlyn decides to join Bessa as a symbol of Piltover. Even if she doesn't know that everything that's happened to a degree is Bessa's fault. Come on. Who was surprised by this? Bessa always seemed like a scheming, conniving woman, so no shit she'd do everything just to get Piltover in the palm of her hands. Not like anyone knows anyways, all they see is peace, and all Caitlyn sees is her mission being realized. The episode ends with Bessa and Caitlyn becoming Arcane's Palpatine and Anakin Skywalker. So, episode 3 was a great episode regardless of the ending, making me want to question my own existence. The action was flawless and so chaotic that it left me wanting more of that. And the plot points, especially in regards to the Medarda family and the sci-fi trio, have me so excited for what's to come in Act 2. Of course, Jinx's plot killed it once again by throwing the emotional punches my way, but the K-Vi side of things was too disgusting for me. Outside of that, an all-around amazing episode that makes me realize I would watch Season 2, Act 1 over and over again if I could. I'm giving this episode an 8 out of 10 and an A-. So I will say this now, Act 1 of Season 2 is my favorite portion of the whole season. It has everything I love from Season 1 and more, regardless of the flaws that surface in some portions of each episode. I love all 3 episodes so much and will regard them as some of the best episodes in the whole series. But I must give you a fair warning. Act 2 and Act 3 is where it all falls down for me in regards to Season 2. I'm going to be brutally honest in both future videos because it is my job. And if you are not open to criticism on this series, then I would highly suggest skipping out on both the Act 2 and Act 3 videos. I love Arcane and I always will, but I refuse to gloss over what the series did terribly wrong. If you don't want to join me on that journey, I totally understand. In the meantime, you can wait until I release my brutally honest review of Blue Eye Samurai. But if you do want to join me, then just be prepared, because it will get pretty nasty and brutal. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like or a comment, and if you like this along with the rest of my content, maybe consider subscribing to the channel, as I have many videos I plan to do in the future, such as reactions and other brutally honest review series. Until next time though, stay safe, stay hydrated, and have a good day. I love you all.